guys, it's Xander here, and welcome back to another Kitchen Table Magic Deck Tech. This is a colourless Mer deck that I've got for you guys. It's actually full of a number of different infinite combos. As always, there's no sideboard with this one, it's just the main deck. This is something I used to play after Darksteel was released, was when I started getting pretty serious into Magic, and absolutely loved a lot of the cards that come out of it, and this deck was kind of the product of that. So I'm just going to talk about the main deck here, and hopefully you guys enjoy the video. So to start off the lineup, we have a 4 of Mer Galvanizer, which is for 3 a 2/2 artifact creature Mer. With other Mer creatures you control, get +1/+1. Also has pay 1 to tap, untap each other Mer creature you control. It, alongside 4 copies of Palladium Mer, was a infinite mana combo, which was really cool. So Palladium Mer is for 3 a 2/2 artifact creature Mer, with tap, add 2 colorless to your mana pool. So how the combo will work is if we have 2 Mer Galvanizers at least, and either 1 or 2 Palladiums. So if we have 1 Palladium, then we generate 2 mana, which is enough to tap both of these differently, giving us infinite untap. And I'll explain why that's relevant in a second, but if we have a second Palladium Mer out, then we're generating an extra 2 mana by tapping them in between. So it just becomes infinite mana, which is really cool. 4 copies of Mer Retriever, which is for 2, it's a 1/1 artifact creature Mer. When Mer Retriever is put in the graveyard from play, you return another target artifact card from your graveyard to your hand. 4 copies of Core Tapper, which is for 2, a 1/1 artifact creature Mer. It's got tap, put a charge counter on target artifact, and it's got sacrifice Core Tapper to put 2 charge counters on target artifact. So with the infinite untapping from Palladium Mer and the Galvanizers, if we have a Core Tapper out, it allows us to put infinite charge counters onto any artifact, which is really cool. And I'll explain in a second why that's relevant. 2 copies of Krark-Clan Ironworks, which is for 4. It's an artifact with sacrifice an artifact, add 2 colors to your mana pool. And that combos with the Mer Retriever, just constantly being able to play the Mer Retriever again and again and again. And with the Genesis Chamber that we're running in a 4 of, Genesis Chamber is for 2, it's an artifact that sits on the battlefield, and whenever a non-token creature comes into play, if Genesis Chamber is untapped, its controller puts a 1/1 Mer artifact creature token into play. So what's going to happen is we play a Mer Retriever, we sacrifice it to the Krark-Clan, we generate 2 mana, we then play a second Mer Retriever, which is getting triggered from Genesis and getting us a 1/1, and then we're going to return a Mer Retriever, and we've already got the 2 mana floating, so we play it out again, and just continue that loop, generating infinite 1/1 Mers. And to utilize the infinite charge counters, we have 2 copies of Magistrate Scepter, which is for 3. It's an artifact that sits on the battlefield, and it's got 4 tap to put a charge counter on it, but it's also got tap, remove 3 charge counters from it, take an extra turn after this one. So we can very easily just roll into infinite turns with this. It's really cool. The other payoff for the infinite charge counters is the 4 copies of Darksteel Reactor. This is also a really good win con in the deck. So Darksteel Reactor is for 4. It's an artifact that sits on the battlefield. It is indestructible, so it can't destroy effects and lethal damage don't destroy it. At the beginning of your upkeep, you put a charge counter on it, or you may put a charge counter on it. And then when Darksteel Reactor has 20 or more charge counters on it, you win the game. So we just go play out a Darksteel Reactor, and then combo off with the Core Tapper, win. That was one of the big win cons of the deck. More often than not, they either concede to some description of infinite combo, of which there is a lot of them. So in this, we have infinite turns, infinite creatures, we have infinite mill, which I haven't explained yet, but that's coming up, and infinite charge counters just getting dumped onto the Darksteel Reactor, just auto win. Really cool. Another way to get charge counters in this deck, as well as +1 counters, if we haven't got something to use the charge counters with, is the 4 copies of Energy Chamber, which is for 2. It's an artifact that sits on the battlefield, and then at the beginning of your upkeep, you choose one. You can either put a +1 counter on target artifact creature, or you can put a charge counter on target non-creature artifact. So if we've got any combination of a couple of Energy Chambers and or a couple of Core Tappers, then we're just going to be able to put 3 counters on Magistrate Scepter anyway, without having the infinite untap ability. So it's just adding that little bit of redundancy, which is really cool. 3 copies of Chromatic Star and 3 copies of Chromatic Sphere, both of which 1 mana artifacts. They come into play and they've both got pay 1, tap to sack them to generate 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. And then Chromatic Sphere is at the end of that you draw a card, and Chromatic Star is when it goes to the graveyard you draw a card, which allows us to sacrifice the star to the Krark-Clan and still draw a card, which can be useful if we're trying to ramp a little bit. To use the infinite mana, we've got 2 copies of Mer Matrix, which is for 5. It's an artifact that sits on the battlefield. Mer Matrix is indestructible. Again, destroy effects and lethal damage do not destroy it. It gives all Mer creatures +1/+1, and we can pay 5 mana to put a 1/1 Mer creature token into play. Yes, it's a fairly horrible card, but in this, with the infinite mana and being able to go off so easily, it's another kind of redundancy package for us to be able to get more infinite Mers. Or even if we haven't been able to get an infinite Mer combo off, the Mers that we do have, more often than not, we're still going to have a few coming out of the Genesis Chamber, so we're going to be going wide, and it's going to be giving an Anthem effect, which is really cool. And to finish off the non-land cards in the deck, we have 2 copies of Grinding Station, which is a 2 mana artifact, sits on the battlefield, and it's got tap, sacrifice an artifact. Target player puts the top 3 cards of his or her library into the graveyard, and then whenever an artifact comes into play, you may untap grinding station. So this then allows us to, if we've got the Genesis Chamber out, instead of just doing the infinite creature combo, we can just infinitely mill them, because in between us getting the Mer Retriever back infinite times and us generating creatures from the Genesis Chamber, every time the Genesis Chamber triggers, we're going to get that token, we're going to sacrifice that token and mill them for 3, and then it's going to play the Mer Retriever out again, we get another token, this untaps, tap, sack the token, mill 3. Infinite mill, at a 2 cost. The deck used to be insanely reliable, it was really cool. A lot of the playgroup, being fairly casual, absolutely hated it. You can kind of see why, but yeah, it used to be a hell of a lot of fun. And to finish off the deck here is the land base. None of them are basics, and I was running the Tron package in here because I wanted to be generating a fairly large amount of mana fairly early in the game if I could. So I was never trying to search for the lands. We didn't care that they weren't coloured, but being able to draw into eventually having the Tron lands or the Tron setup was always really cool. So Urza's Mine in a 4 of. It taps for 1 colors, but if you control the Urza's Power Plant, the Urza's Tower, and the Urza's Mine, it generates 2 mana instead of 1. The Urza's Tower does the same thing, but it generates 3 if you've got all 3, and the Power Plant generates 2 if you've got all 3. Glimmer Void in a 4 of. At the beginning of your end step, if you control no artifacts, you have to sacrifice it, but it's got tap to add 1 mana of any color. And the colored mana is only relevant with the 2 copies of Academy Ruins that I had in the deck. So Academy Ruins is a legendary land with tap, add 1 colorless mana to your mana pool, or you can pay 2, 1 and a blue, to tap and put target artifact card from your graveyard on top of your library. So that's why we have the stuff to generate the colored mana. We can get these things back with Mer Retriever, and the Glimmer Void can also add the colored mana as well. So just being able to get, even if they can answer our combos or answer the cards that are doing this stuff, Academy Ruins could just fetch them back again. Insanely cool. And that is my infinite Mer deck from Kitchen Table Magic. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for watching, guys. As always, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to see new videos as they were released. If you like what I do and you want to support the channel, you can throw me $1 on my Patreon at patreon.com/SandersQuest. And I will see you guys in the next video. Keep questing, guys.